there's loads of other games we're looking forward to, but they're the local derbies and the sort of ones within the sort of closer geographical location to St Andrews. And I'm really looking forward to that because we did miss those last year. Really missed them, and they're back. And I think that's another bonus of being back in the Championship. We're in this, we've got these teams around us now that we can look forward to playing them home and away.
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue, and we're back today with a video all about the derbies. And last season in League One we didn't have many. I think our closest geographically would have been Burton, but now we're back in the Championship. We actually face a lot more local teams, and in this video we're going to go through some of those games, some of the fixtures coming up in the Championship, why we're excited for them, and what we might expect. So, Dad, a few derbies back next season. Is there any in particular that you're looking forward to?
Well, all of them really. Like you said, Matt, last season we didn't really have that derby experience at all, really. I mean, Burton Albion, with the greatest respect, they were the nearest. But
it's not a rivalry, is it?
Not a rivalry. And in fact, actually, so what we're going to do for this podcast is I think we have to pick 6 of the most local teams that we've got in the Championship. Some of them are not derbies; they're just in the Midlands or just on the peripheries of the Midlands. But what it is, it's teams that are generally, geographically a lot closer to us. So there's a lot more on these games in terms of the passion, the derby atmosphere and all that we missed last year, I thought.
And the crowds will be bigger this year. When you go to the Hawthorns, when you go to the CBS and Pride Park. Is it Pride Park still? Is it still called?
Yeah.
I've got a guy at work, he calls it the baseball.
That's their old ground.
Yeah,
I remember the baseball ground.
He still refers to it as the baseball ground, which I think is quite interesting.
Yeah.
But a lot of good stadiums to go to that. I'm looking forward to the away days as well. Good atmospheres. There's always good banter, aren't they? I think I really like going to the CBS as well, because for one, it's probably our closest stadium to get to out of even St.Andrews at home games. But also as well, there's good banter there between the fans. And looking forward to the derbies coming back this season.
Yeah, we'll come on to the CBS in a minute because obviously CBS is closer to us because of where we live, but actually the closest ground, because what I've done is looked at the geographical areas from St Andrews, so the nearest one is West Bromwich Albion. We'll come on to that in a minute. But just a reminder of Birmingham City's league positions, really, because obviously the derbies always play a big part in the season, don't they, in terms of obviously there's a lot riding on them, but they can go either way, can't they? And if you look at, I think that we all agree that we are likely to be more competitive this season. But we look back previous seasons, so we were in the Championship for 13 seasons before we got relegated. That's since relegation from the Premier League. We finished 22nd when we got relegated. But if I want to work backwards to show you our finishing position prior to the relegation, so 22nd relegated in 23-24. Then it was before that finished 17th, 20th, 18th, 20th, 17th, and 19th, and that goes back to 2016, 2017. In fact, 19th we finished twice, and then we've had a few finishes of 10 in 2014, 2015, the season after, and then that memorable season we finished 21st, which is 2013, 2014. That's the Paul Caddy's goal at Bolton. And then we had a few seasons when we finished fourth, got into the playoffs, and that's obviously our sort of league finishes since we got relegated from the Premier League. So basically, you can see in the last 8 years we've been struggling with relegation.
Well, we were flirting with relegation for many years, weren't we? We've been I think I've referred to it a lot on the podcast recently. We've been a team surviving, not thriving, pretty much. And again, we were very reliant on the loan players we got in. The investment wasn't there. But thankfully, Dad, those times that look like they're behind us, onwards and upwards. And what would be nice, to be fair, in all seriousness, I know we've been in the doldrums previously under the previous ownership, and previously, when we play West Brom, when we play some of the teams in the past 10, 13 years, it does feel a little bit miserable turning up, doesn't it? Because we just hadn't had the backing, we haven't had the very good seasons, very good football to watch. Whereas now this season, we can actually turn up with confidence that we can actually turn up and get some points now. This season's going to be massively different, and I can't wait for it.
It is, and the derbies are a big part in that. I wanted to do this podcast as well because you realise from where we were last season, literally Burton was the closest. When you look at this season, I've picked 6 teams really just to sort of highlight and talk about. Some of them are very local, some of them are a bit full of wider Midlands, but they're all pretty close. We're going to start off with West Bromwich Albion actually. Now they finished, I think was it 10th they finished or 9th? They finished 9th in the end in the Championship last season. After it was disappointing really in the end because I think Tony Mowbray appointment didn't work out for them, did it?
It didn't, Dad. And up until was it about 4 games to go? They were always in the running. In fact, maybe even more than that. 2 or 3 games to go, they were pretty much, again flirting with that playoff position. And I think they were really disappointed as a fan base to not make it in the end. And I think that sums up West Brom over the last couple of years. They just haven't quite got enough in the can over the course of 46 games to get into the playoffs, have they? And they look like, and again, maybe a West Brom supporter who's watching this could confirm, they look like they've got a little bit of financial trouble on their hands as well, don't they? Or ownership trouble or whatever it might be. I know they're looking to sell some players this summer, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's an ownership problem. I think they had an owner change about a season and a half ago.
Yeah, no, they did.
So I think the ownership's sorted, but I think did they have their last year of parachute payments last season? So there are obviously issues in relation to how they manage their finances, and I believe that from what I've been reading, I don't think they're in financial trouble as such, but I believe that they need to sell to buy, if you know what I mean.
Right.
That's what I understand.
Again, we're not West Brom fans.
No.
I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I've been hearing, again, rumorings, I don't know what you'd call it, but conversations that they need to sell some players this season in order to progress and crack on.
I think that's what I've read as well, but I haven't read anywhere that any major financial trouble, because I think the ownership is pretty stable now there. Okay. Their ground is only 5 miles geographically from St.Andrews, roughly. Mm-hmm. Their stadium capacity 26,850, so quite a similar-ish capacity to ours. Good ground actually, West Brom. I like stats, as you know. So over our history and their history, we've played each other 126 times in league football. We've won 36. Drawn 37 and lost 53. So the Baggies have got the better of us, particularly in recent times, as we know.
Well, you say that, Dad. Do you not remember when we beat them 3-1 at St.Andrews recently? Dion Sanderson scored, Craig Gardner scored. Yeah. Who else scored that? Was it Miyoshi, maybe? I can't remember.
But that's one of the games is where Hannibal Megri scored that free kick.
That was the season before that.
Yeah. So we have had wins in, but I think when I'm talking about recent history, I'm talking about the last 15, 20 years. They probably had the better of us. But as I say, for them, I think last season would have been disappointing. But I like the atmosphere with West Brom. There's always good banter with the West Brom fans. I don't think we particularly. It's not a fierce, as in hate each other rivalry. But
also, there's a mutual hatred for the guys down in Aston, so that's quite entertaining.
Well, you could say probably any of the teams I'm about to talk about, that's probably the truth.
But when that famous song rings about the stadium, it's quite entertaining sometimes when both sets of fans sing it. So it's quite
so I think we sort of like each other, West Brom, in terms of it is a rivalry, but we're not really bothered by each other so much, because obviously West Brom's big derby is Wolverhampton Wanderers, and our big derby is Aston Villa, isn't it? Yeah. But there is a rivalry there because obviously we are pretty close in proximity. Good players they've got. I mean, their top scorer last season was Josh Maja, 12 goals. Then Carlin Grant 7, Alex Mowat 7, Tom Fellows 4, and Tom Fellows at 14 assists as well.
He's a good player. And again, I know it's all rumorings, Dad, and I'm sure West Brom, if they are watching, I'm sure they'll flood the comments. But apparently, we are linked with. Again, it could just be absolute pie in the sky nonsense, but there is links between Fellows and Blues this summer, and I'm sure. And again, there's nothing there of substance. Who knows? But good. I like Tom Fellows. He's a good player.
He is a good player. And he's one of the players that they believe that if they sell him, they'll get good money for him.
20 million, I'm hearing.
And that I don't know how much, but that would allow them to have a building block to then go out and buy.
I'm hearing somewhere between they wouldn't sell him for anything less than 15 to 20 million. Apparently, that's their value that they've put on him. I don't know whether he's worth that much, but that's apparently the rumorings that they've
and we'll have to see. I mean, what's interesting, I looked at their results last season, and there's one period. This is amazing. So it's from the 5th of October to the 8th of December. They played 11 games. And they drew 10 of them. They drew 10 out of 11 games in that period. And obviously that's a big... Because they started off really well. I think they won 5 of the first 6. And 5 of the first 6 and drawn. They drew Leeds in the middle of that. So they had a great start, couple of defeats, and all of them. So they did sort of tail off with all these draws, and they came back again. But it was the end of the season that really sort of shot them in the foot. They lost 5 of the last 8 games.
Yeah,
that's where they went out of the.
That was under Mowbray's era.
They did relegate Luton in the last game of the season. Crazy 5-3 result, but their results. I mean, they didn't really do very well against the top 6. The only teams they beat in the top 6, home or away. Coventry they beat at home 2-0, and Bristol City 2-0. The top 3 they drew home and away against all of them. So again, you can see.
That's not bad though. It's not bad.
It's not bad. I mean, because you're right. Actually, it isn't bad because then you can argue they didn't lose against,
especially in the top 4. Because you're talking Burnley, Sheffield United, Leeds, and Sunderland, arguably, aren't you, with those 4, with the way the season finished, give or take, maybe one team snuck in there.
As the league table finished, so they drew home and away with Leeds, Burnley, and Sheffield United. Yeah. They lost 1-0 at home to Sunderland and then drew 0-0 away.
Okay.
And then Coventry, as I said, they beat 2-0 at home. lost 2-0 away.
Yeah.
Okay, so but I'm looking forward to Albion. They'll be one of the ones I'm looking out for when the fixtures are released.
I've got a feeling one of those games will either be a Friday night or a Monday, or so, because they like putting the local derbies on the evenings, don't they? So to be fair, I'm not against a Friday evening game, the Hawthorns. You know, I'll be looking forward to it getting down there, or St.Andrews, whatever it be. So yeah, looking forward to playing the Baggies this season, Dan.
Yeah, me too. And another game we both look forward to is Coventry. You know, they're the next team that I've got. They're geographically 20 miles approximately away if you look at stadiums.
It's about 6 miles from my house, by the way. It's no secret. Me and Dad now I live in Coventry. You live just outside, and it's one of the stadiums that we can get to really quickly, isn't it? So it is particularly handy.
It's quicker to us to get there than it is to St.Andrews, as you pointed out. Stadium capacity 32,600, so slightly bigger than ours. Their history: played each other 56 times in league football over the years. We've won 21, drawn 19, and lost 16. So we've actually got the better of them. But of course, they are a very a well-established championship team who I think will be competing right at the top end of the table.
Playoffs again.
Yeah. I mean, they could, because obviously at the time of recording, the transfer window literally just opened, so they could push for automatics, depending on who they sign.
It's always difficult because of the parachute payment, and that isn't an excuse. That isn't a dig at Coventry. It's, even Blues, they're coming up this season. It's so difficult to compete for the top 2 spots because of the parachute payment teams.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at Luton. They've done back-to-back relegation, so it's not a given science that you're going to automatically go back up. But if you look at Burnley, Sheffield United, I know they didn't get the automatic leads. They are the clubs that just do very well in the Championship, aren't they, historically? So yeah, it's no given. But I think, in my opinion, Coventry will be another playoff give or take team.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough, isn't it? You know, we know that the last 2 seasons that we're in the Championship, we went to home and away against Coventry. And both times away, we lost 2-0 each of those 2 seasons. They sell the best Guinness in the league, don't they? Because it's really good there.
They do.
I don't drink Guinness that often, but it's really good there.
It's not many stadiums in the country you can go and have 4 or 5 nice pints of Guinness before the game. So yeah, I'll take that. But big games. That I like the Coventry games. I like. I mean, thankfully we beat them 3-0 at St.Andrews recently. Do you remember early season?
Yeah, it didn't do us any favours. We still got relegated.
I know.
But it was still nice to win, wasn't it?
I know, but it was a good game of football. I thought we actually, considering where they were, I thought we completely outplayed them.
Yeah.
We did really well. I always remember that Tyler Roberts assist to Jay Stansfield's goal. I think we scored early as well. That always helps. There was an own goal that happened quite early on in the game. That settled us down. But for me, I've not seen us win at the CBS for a long time. I want to go there and beat them this season if we can. But yeah, again, looking forward to the Coventry games there. But I'm sure you got some stats or something.
Well, just a few name drops really. As we know, their top scorer had you right with the 12 goals, and I think a fantastic signing for them. A big loss for Huddersfield was Jack Rodoni. He scored 9 times, but he's got 12 assists.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Victor Torp got 6 goals. Ellis Sims 6, and Ephron Mason-Clark 5. If they can keep him fit as well, he'll be big next season because he was out for a lot of the season. Assist Jack Rodoni 12, Sakamoto, he's got 6 assists. Ephron Mason-Clark 5. I mean, there's goals and flair all over that team. They'll add to that. I also like Matty Grimes as well. They signed him. He's a good player.
And Ben Chief, them two in the middle of the park is pretty deadly, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Frank Lampard came in and it took them. They always seem to have a very slow, sluggish start. It's really hard to fathom, isn't it? Because if they didn't, they would be challenging for automatics.
There's an ongoing joke between me and my friends that there's no point in watching Coventry till after Christmas.
Yeah.
But they just go really slow and then they just get off like an express train in the Christmas New Year period. But yeah, definitely one to watch out for Coventry. They'll be a good force next season. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, so good side. Looking forward to that very much. Next as well, I've got Matt geographically, and I've only gone by sort of a distance away from St.Andrews, Leicester, 40 miles away. Capacity 32,259. We did go to Leicester, didn't we?
We did
in the FA Cup, wasn't it?
It was good. There's 5,000 of us there.
Yeah, really good.
We completely dominated that corner, which was pretty cool.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the stadium, and they're coming down under a bit of a cloud in terms of. I personally don't think Van Nistelrooy will be there next season. I think they'll definitely make a change there, and also as well, they've got the cloud of points deductions possibly hanging over them as well. Through obviously they've been charged by the EFL, haven't they, for irregularities?
Yeah.
So that's interesting to see what happens with them. History-wise, we've played them 127 times in leagues over the years. We've won 51, drawn 23, and lost 53. So they got the slight edge over us. Jamie Vardy's their top scorer last season. We normally know now he's not going to be there. He's decided to leave. Buonanotte's got 5 goals. I mean, this won't surprise you. Jordan Ayew 5 goals. There wasn't a lot of goals. And Mavididi got 4. Now he was brilliant in the season that they got promoted from the Championship. Him and who's that guy they sold to Chelsea? Double-barreled name.
Dewsbury Hall.
Dewsbury Hall, yeah. They were fantastic in midfield, and I thought Mavididi.
Do you remember when we played there? Fair enough. I know it was under Rooney's tenure. I get that, and we weren't set up very well. But all I remember from that game when we played them at St.Andrews was the speed on the counter attack.
Yeah.
Dewsbury Hall, Mavididi, the other guy on the other side as well. I forgot his name. Really short, fast, flary player. They were just electric.
Yeah.
I just remember their speed, and again, I'm a big fan of Mavididi. In fact, I'd like to. We just spoke about Radoni from Coventry. In our 10s and our wides, I'd like players like Radoni, like Mavididi, Poku. Those kind of players who can really change a game. Yeah, I just remember their speed. It's frightening.
I think there'll be a lot of changes at Leicester. I think there has to be. They're still going to be very strong. They're going to be a very strong team in the Championship, without a doubt. But they dominated the Championship for most of the season when they played us. I mean, they did have a bit of a tail off, didn't they, towards the end?
I think they'd almost had it wrapped up by then.
They got it over the line, and they look like a Premier League team. I wonder how different it's going to be now that they've come down again, because I think a lot of this team is going to change.
Yeah. I cannot believe that on the final day we beat Norwich 1-0 and Blackburn beat Leicester at Leicester.
Yeah.
I mean, if you replayed that final day and did the results over and over, apparently a supercomputer said that would only happen 1 in 100 times. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Dad, I'm sure you've got some stats to share with us about Leicester.
Yeah, well, obviously they had a torrid season in the Premier League, as did Southampton, and
three came up, 3 came down again.
Yeah, which and obviously they're going to be the teams that we are going to hopefully have a better opportunity to play better against next season. But if you look at Leicester's results in the Premier League, they lost home and away to the whole of the top 6. Didn't beat any team home or away in the top 8. In fact, the only team that they beat in the top 13 home or away was Bournemouth 1-0 at home. No surprise. So they got the double over to Southampton, but so did everybody else.
Didn't they go on a crazy goal drought as well? I don't know what it was. I can't remember. I can't remember exactly what kind of the window it was in between, but they went on a massive spree of not even scoring at home, I believe. Yeah,
from the 5th of February all the way through till the beginning of April, it was 2-4. It was about 8 or 9 league games, but then I think there was cup games if you had in there. They struggled desperately to score goals.
Which I find staggering because of how dominant they were in the Championship the year before. I know the Premier League's a big step up. I totally get that. But, no doubt there'll be a force next season. Regardless of points deductions, regardless of who's in charge, by the time the season starts, they're a big club, Leicester, and I have no doubt that they will be fine and do very well next season.
Yeah, next month I've got a team that we haven't played for a while because they passed us in the relegation. Derby County, they got promoted that season. 40 miles away, roughly, from St.Andrews, 33,600 nearly capacity.
I cannot wait to get back to Pride Park. Dad, I've not been there for a few years. I mean, the last time I remember watching this, because I didn't go to this game, but remember Bielek scored against us when Rooney was in charge. I remember that game with Derby. The last couple of minutes of the game.
I remember that. And there was a game as well not so long ago, I think it was before that, when they were 2-0 up and we was in injury time and we then come back to 2-2.
Yeah.
So we've had some good games with Derby. I like Derby as well in terms of it's not too far in terms of travel, and also it's always a good atmosphere, isn't it? Of course, the John used to Derby now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great away day as well. I love going to Pride Park, so I'm glad that's back on the agenda. It's a big stadium as well, Pride Park. I think it's 32,000-ish.
33,497.
It's misleading. It doesn't look that big, or you don't think it's that big, and you get inside, and it's actually pretty big. So, and you get the corner section in Pride Park, and I'm looking forward to getting back to there again, Dad. Yeah, as you say, John Hughes is in charge. And again, I've got a Derby fan at work. That one of the things I've been saying to him is that John Eustace, Gary Rowett, these kind of managers are like proper safe pair of hands. And I was saying to him, you're not going to get glamorous football. You're not going to go down there and be absolutely battering teams, but he will keep you up. And he did.
Yeah.
And I had no doubt John Eustace was going to do it because he's a safe pair of hands, isn't he? And there's a couple of managers in the Championship who, and it isn't a dig. Some people get defensive about this. It's not a big thing. Some teams are good at playing on the back foot, and John Eustace sets you up in that way, but he makes you very compact, very hard to break down, very hard to play against. But it is that trade-off, isn't it? Is you don't get glamorous football or anything expansive football, but he's a safe pair of hands, and I have no doubt Derby, I think under Eustace with a bit of backing, will do okay again.
I think that's the key for them. Will they get the backing? Because they need to. Clearly it was their first season in Championship for a while. They stayed up, and now what are they going to do in the summer to strengthen that squad to make it so that they have a better season? We've played them 116 times in total. We won 36, drawn 36, and lost 44. So they've had the better of us. Top scorer last season was Jerry Yates. He got 10. Abu Adams 6. Marcus Harness got 4. Nathan Mendez-Lang got 3. So again, not huge amounts of goals in that team as well. They did okay. I mean, they went on a really bad run from, I think it was from December, end of December, really through to near the beginning of March, where they only drew 2 and lost the rest. That's what put them in real trouble, because they started to sort of go down the table. But again, John Eustace was appointed, as you mentioned, Matt. He's a manager that can get the best out of players.
Safe pair of hands.
Safe pair of hands. So I'm looking forward to going there, because it's one team we haven't been or played for a while.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm really looking forward to that. Just a couple more for this podcast as well. I put Stoke in there. I really enjoyed our visit to Stoke last season before last. It
helped that we won.
It did help that we won. They had what's his name in charge, didn't they?
Schumacher.
Yeah, Schumacher in charge at the time. And they've moved the away fans now, haven't they? So where we were by the tunnel.
Yeah.
They've moved us to the same
corner
stand, but over in the other corner.
Yes, that's the one.
42 miles, 30,000 roughly their stadium. We've played them 98 times in total, won 34, drawn 24, and lost 40. So again, they've had a lot of teams have had the better of us.
In recent history, because we've been really poor, haven't we?
Yeah. Interestingly, last season, Matt, their top scorer was Tom Cannon, who was only there for part of the season because he was called back in January and went and got sold to Sheffield United, didn't he? So he was their top scorer with 9. Lewis Baker with 6. Million Manhoof 5, Andrew Moran 4. But as we know, Mark Robbins went in there, didn't he? And he just about did enough to keep them up. And I think now they'll have a pre-season with them. I think that we might start to see a bit more of a different team next season.
Everyone knows Mark Robbins is a class manager. I mean, look at what he did at Coventry. But
it took him time, though, Matt. I mean, that's
the key. Dad. A lot of Cov fans have said he will do fine at Stoke, but you've got to give him a couple of seasons to sort of settle in.
And do modern football teams allow that now? I mean, Coventry did.
Stoke are renowned for sort of changing their manager.
That's my worry with him. So if Stoke have a really poor start to the season, are they going to have the guts to stick with him?
They'd be nuts to get rid of him, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's a great manager, but yeah.
Well, they finished 18th in the end, so they had only 2 points above the relegations. I think it was last day of the season that they were involved. Yeah. I think it was highly unlikely in the last day of the season, based upon the fact that, were they playing Derby or something? It was unlikely they were going to get relegated, but nevertheless they were right down there and only finished 18th. I mean, they away record is what really killed them. They won 4 times away, but 3 of those of 3 of the 4 away wins were against Hull City, who finished 21st, Plymouth, who finished 23rd, and Cardiff, who finished bottom. So they're all clearly it's their away record that's really made them struggle.
I feel like we have a decent record at Stoke. You know, in recent history we've won. I remember beating them 2-1 when we were there, Dad. Bakuna free kick and a Stansfield rocket. And then we beat them the season before that as well. But the reason why the 2-1 felt so good when we beat them at Stoke was because they absolutely pummeled us on Boxing Day 3-1. Do you remember, under Rooney? I remember going to the car after that game just so down. It was just a horrible experience. So going back there and winning was great. But yeah, always like the Stoke games as well, Dad. Good, again, decent set of fans in terms of noise usually. And should be a good game.
He was. And our win was under Tony Mowbray as well.
It was.
Final team, Matt, and I know this is not a derby. I get this. It's just that they're in sort of the Midlands zone-ish. It's Oxford United.
Are they in the Midlands zone?
Well, loosely. The real reason I wanted to include them because they got a nice big yellow logo and it looks great on the thumbnail. But 70 miles away roughly, right. That's probably the second. Now that Luton have gone, this will be the smallest stadium in the Championship. 12,500. I know there's plans for.
Have they got 3 stands? And that's not that's not me having a joke or pop. It's just an observation. Yeah. They have got 3 stands.
They have, but there is news that they could possibly be moving or looking building a new stadium in a few years' time.
Was it called the Cassam Stadium?
It's still called the Cassam. Yeah,
because whenever I drive to Oxford, because I drive quite a lot recently, because a colleague lives there, pick him up on the way to shoots and stuff. I always see signs to the Cassam Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We only played them 26 times in total in the league. Over the years, we've won 10, drawn 9, and lost 7, so it's pretty close. But Gary Rowett's their manager.
Yeah, solid. So again, I threw Gary Rowett that in my statement earlier with the same John Eustace.
Yeah.
Safe pair of hands.
Yeah, and again, this is with respect to Oxford. I believe that if he hadn't got appointed, I think they would have got relegated because they finished in the end 17th on 53 points, so 4 points above the drop zone. But they went on a really good run when he first joined, didn't he? Which was in January. They won 5. And drew 4 of 9 in a row, which pushed them right to the top, and that gave them enough of a buffer to get themselves over the line. I'm looking forward to playing Oxford because it's another team we haven't played for a while, and hopefully we'll get tickets for the away game as well because we're platinum as well.
Yeah,
next
hopefully,
season.
yeah, that'd be good.
Top scorer last season, Mark Harris with 6, Greg Lee with 6. Michael Healy. Now he was a good signing, Michael Healy. I was really surprised he went to Oxford from Huddersfield. He got 5 goals. He left.
He's pretty. I know 5 goals isn't prolific, but he scores goals every season, doesn't he?
He's a centre back.
Yeah, exactly. But he scores goals every season.
He's a real threat.
Set pieces.
I would have liked us to have got him, but now with our obviously backline, I'm not saying we need him now, but he is a good player. So there is some threat in there with Oxford. I think they're going to be a team that, again, like we mentioned for some of the other teams, they're going to have to invest for the Championship. Otherwise, they are going to have a tough season, even under Gary Rowett.
Agreed.
But yeah, I mean, there's loads of other games we're looking forward to, but they're the local derbies and the sort of ones within the sort of closer geographical location to St Andrews, and I'm really looking forward to that because we did miss those last year. Really missed them, and they're back, and I think that's another bonus of being back in the Championship. We're in this, we've got these teams around us now that we can look forward to playing them home and away.
And there's always good banter on social media with the other fans as well. I know we wind everyone up on social media as Blues fans, I get it, but there is usually good banter back and forth in the stadium. There's good banter as well. So yeah, looking forward to it. Some great games there. I can't wait to get to the CBS, the Hawthorns, Pride Park. And all the others as well. So yeah, exciting times, Dad.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Can't wait. The derbies are back, and I'm really, really happy they are.
Yeah, same here. But as always, Birmingham City supporters, we would love to hear from you. So please let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you liked the video specifically, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and check us out on our social media channels. We have an X page, we have an Instagram page, and we're also over on Spotify as well. So you can listen and watch us over on there as well. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and press that bell notification so you get notified every time we post a video. And myself and Dad will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.